But I haven't seen anything either.
I traded some emails with Terry, and he was like, "Yeah, that's totally fine. I just haven't seen a bill yet." So.
Oh, we haven't sent an invoice.
So I told him, we administratively can't waive the fee, but I don't see.
Who do you want? Like I said, my contact's been with Ron, who's kind of like the head of the maintenance department. I can send him an invoice.
Whoever you would send it to.
All right.
Yeah. And I just told Terry, I was like, we can't waive it here, but they can, so.
Few minutes away from showtime.
Yeah, this isn't even the big one.
What's that?
This group doesn't recognize it. They're going to do a rate study.
Increase or decrease?
Increase.
Water rates?
Water and sanitary.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, big time head.
You want it to work, you gotta pay. What time we got? Remind me of this court that it was COVID. I have nothing confirmed, but there was the News Herald ran a paid obituary, paid death notice, a lengthy one.
And I am not hearing anybody. Okay, I'd like to get going.
Heard something start up. Here we go.
Yeah, I'd like to get going, but I can't hear everybody. So is that,
You got 1 minute.
Carrie, are you hearing me? If you are, wave.
I'll walk back.
It's all right.
Broadcast room.
How about you?
That's all right. That's all right.
I'm alive.
Computer error or operator error, more than likely.
Got problems with the foot, wound on my foot that won't heal, and I've only had it for a month and a half. I guess tomorrow I'm going to the doctor. But anyways,
6 weeks is usually the time limit.
I'm glad you got an update from Parky.
Yeah, they took out before we go online, they took out a leader out of his lung.
No,
Went out of his lung.
He's feeling pretty good now.
well, good.
That's good news.
He definitely has problems with his breathing.
Yes.
We are live, guys.
A lot since that occurred, but yes, he has.
Bang the gavel, I think they'll get your attention.
Pneumonia is nothing to mess with. I've had it before. Awful.
Oh, now we get our young age like you and me.
Now that I know how old you are.
Okay, am I coming across yet, folks?
You threw me. That still throws me.
You got a mute button on your top.
You got to be really careful because last year the
be
doctor
right at
kept
the top of
telling
your
me,
screen.
other than that stent that I had put in last year, everything is working good. Everything's perfect. You're in good health if you just get off the couch and do a little exercise
There we go.
and whatever. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
And then since January I've been sick. So it's like, oh my gosh, they jinxed me.
We are live, folks. So
Mhm.
we will call the meeting of June 1st, 2020, of the Lincoln Park City Council to order. If everyone would please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be immediately followed by the invocation by Reverend Karen Butler of Wings of Deliverance Ministry. If you have to unmute yourself, Reverend. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. James, could you unmute the Reverend, please?
Working on.
Okay.
She'll have to unmute herself because.
It looks like she's on. Okay, Reverend, whenever you're ready.
Yes.
Father, in the name of Jesus, we come to you this evening. We thank you for your goodness, your grace, and your mercy. First of all, God, we want to ask you to forgive us for anything that might hinder the answers to these prayers, Lord God, in the name of Jesus. If we've offended you in thought or deed, whether individually or as a nation, oh God, we ask your forgiveness. We come before you, Lord God, and we say thank you this evening for this Board of Council, and we thank you for Mayor Karn and all of the workers, all of the people of the city of Lincoln Park that help it keep being alive and to do what needs to be done for your people. We look to you. We ask that you would bless them in the name of Jesus. We come before you tonight with petitions regarding COVID-19. We first of all, God, ask for a resolution some way, somehow, through the chemists, through the doctors, whichever way you want to do it. We need a miracle in the name of Jesus. We look to you. We ask you, God, to remember the nationwide racial unrest, my God, tonight in Jesus' name. Remember the policemen. Remember the young people that are protesting. And God, I pray for mercy for those who really are there to make trouble and not because they're concerned about a person's death. We ask you to breathe on your people, change their hearts and change their minds. And remember the business owners that are being affected, hallelujah, by the evil things that are being done. We ask you tonight, God, to remember bereaved families, including that of former city prosecutor Norman Colstrand, his family, and bereaved families who have lost loved ones with the COVID-19 virus. We ask you to remember those families who've been affected by people who have been murdered, hallelujah, such as Mr. Floyd, Lord God, and other people all around the world who've been affected by violence. We ask, God, that you would turn this thing around. We want you, God, if you will, to remember our cities, our states, and our countries, our government, Lord God, on every level. We ask you, God, as we begin, as the governor has stated, as we begin to open up, we're asking, God, that you would give your people wisdom, that you would cover us with your protection, that you would help us to make life changes, that will help us to treat each other differently, that will help us to treat this earth differently that you have given to us. And God, we ask blessings on each one that is here tonight every family that is represented. Remember every child, all of our children, grandchildren, friends, neighbors, and relatives as we go through not just one pandemic, but another situation that we're dealing with in this world tonight. We look to you and we believe you, God. We know that you're able. We know you can. And we ask it all in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Reverend. And we also look for prayers for Councilman Tom Parkinson, who is recovering from an illness right now, and that's why he can't be with us tonight. So we'll all wish him well. And if we could have roll call, please.
I'm going to say good night.
Oh, good night.
Councilpersons Breeding,
Present on the phone.
Higgins,
Here.
Kelsey,
Here.
Parkinson, absent, Ross,
She's muted. She's waving. Can you
I think she
unmute?
muted herself.
There she is.
there she is, here. Councilperson Salcido,
Here via Zoom.
and Mayor Carnes.
Here. Okay, welcome everybody to our, I don't know how many Zoom meetings that we've had, 2 or 3 or something, still a little bit different. Happy June, everyone. As the Reverend mentioned, these are difficult times in which we are living with the death of George Floyd and the protests that are coming after that, having to do with police brutality. Protests are needed sometimes to get the word across and to get their opinions heard. If there is going to be a protest, or if you're looking to take part in one, all we ask is that you do so peacefully. Everyone has the right to speak their opinion, but you cannot encroach on other people's rights when those are going on and with property damage and the like. So we asking everyone to ask responsibly, and if that's the case, just do it peacefully. That's all. We had this afternoon at 12 noon, there was called a pandemic lament, and churches throughout the area were getting together to pause and consider the 100,000 lives that had been lost to this pandemic since the beginning. We need to keep this in mind as we're going through. As a COVID update for Linkin Park, as of today, there were 328 confirmed cases that have resulted in 25 deaths. In this afternoon, Governor Whitmer issued Executive Order 2020-110, which is moving the entire state to Stage 4 in the Stay-at-Home, Stay Safe START plan, which is, what that means to us is that residents are no longer required to stay home, that retailers resume operations on June 4th, and that restaurants and bars may open fully on June 8th. Other businesses that involve close contact and shared services such as gyms, hair salons, barbers will remain closed for the time being. Indoor events of over 10 people are still prohibited. Outdoor events up to 100 people are allowed with social distancing. So due to this, the parks will open up tomorrow. However, the play structures, similar to the shared surfaces and such, will remain off limits for that time. Looking to have City Hall reopen Monday, June 8th, but there will be a limited amount of people that will be allowed in at a given time. We're looking to have the ramp installed on tomorrow or Wednesday that will allow entry into the City Hall, and so we should be set for that. The City Council meeting of June 5th will continue to be held via Zoom as groups of more than 10 are prohibited still. But I'm thinking that we'll be able to return to regular meetings starting in July. And it'd be nice to see everybody's faces face-to-face still as opposed to face-to-video screen, but this morning I had a unique opportunity. I went to visit a resident, Lindley Hogan. He is celebrating his 100th birthday today. I know that all of council will join me in offering our congratulations for this. Mr. Hogan is a veteran of World War II, having served in the Army Air Corps, and did some dental work at that time too, was trained as a dentist. I had the honor of visiting with him, and he had great stories of life on White Street throughout the years, including the nursery that was across the street that grew shrubs and flowers, and that the one fellow that owned that entire block, and then he watched that develop all around him. He was also a member of the Community Improvement Commission under Mayor Saul, and recounted the home beautification awards that were given out. So we thank Mr. Hogan for his past service to the city and our country, and give him best wishes for a happy birthday. We were able to it should be celebration. We were able to put his name up on the marquee, and he was scheduled to have several people, family members and friends do drive-bys for them. So very, very interesting man. So next we have thanks to Don Belinsky and those that helped with the Memorial Day video presentation. It was shown on all of our channels on Memorial Day, and I think it's still available, will still be available on the city's YouTube channel. There were 4 names that were added to the War Memorial. It was Clyde Liddell, who was from World War II, and then Thomas W. Bickford, Eli W. Nichols, and Richard L. Rushlow from Vietnam. And also there's an error from 71 years ago that was corrected when the middle initial of Authrian Vaughn, who was killed in service in World War II, was corrected from an N to an M. And we have to give special thanks to Michigan Memorial, who had the plaques made, but also came in and installed it in rainy weather. And there was a young high school student, not of Linkin Park, I think it was a Wyandotte student who was home, but a Linkin Park resident, that came forward with his trumpet and played taps for us beautifully with only 1 day of preparation, which was quite an amazing thing. If you have an opportunity to see that, please do. We will have an official opening for this, a rededication for the plaques. I think that will be sometime this summer, as obviously things are opening up to 100 people, but I would hope that more than 100 people would be there. Okay, there was a little bit of a cost to this, and I put out a challenge, but there's a $1,500 cost, and there are people that rose to that. There were John A. Paplis, the Lincoln Park Community Credit Union, the Lincoln Park Police Command, the Lincoln Park Patrol, Chief Waters, the Steel Trap, Ray Alex Funeral Home, Walt Coles, Aaron Bartell, the Lincoln Park Rotary and Lincoln Park Exchange Club, and City Attorney Ed Zelnick were all came together to raise the money for that. If you out there would like to be a part of contributing to the War Memorial, send checks to the Historical Society. That is tax deductible, and any funds, there will be no administrative costs. Any funds will go directly to the care and upkeep of the monument that were there. This coming week on the 8th and 9th will be graduation day for the Lincoln Park High School seniors. It has been, all of us have gone through a little bit of an ordeal with the COVID. And fortunately, there are several that became very ill and some that have died. But your idea of a senior year is definitely different than what these kids have experienced. But they're making the most of it, and it will be a unique ceremony. As I understand it, a family member will be chosen from each of the graduating seniors, and that family member will give the diploma to the graduate on stage. So it's going to be a little bit of a logistic thing that's done over, I think it's going to take 12 hours over 2 days. but I think it would be a very special moment for those. So I'm sure that all of the council and the people in Lincoln Park express our congratulations to all of our LP seniors and wish them the best of luck in their future. Now, this past week also, a couple weeks ago actually, right before Memorial Day, the police department held their annual Memorial Day blood drive. They do blood drives for Memorial Day and Labor Day. It's been, I would hazard a guess, over 25 consecutive years that they've been doing this. And nothing more important than right now, where people are afraid of contact, but still people are getting into auto accidents, have to have emergency surgery. So this blood is it's very important. It's life-saving, as they say. And there 60 pints of blood were collected. 69 people tried, and of those 60 pints, there'll be 180 people that will benefit as a result of that. There has also, the police department applied for and received a grant from the Justice Department, and in Chief Walters' words, the police department is pleased to announce that we have received a grant from the Department of Justice in the amount of $63,485. This money will cover expenses already spent during COVID-19 pandemic and future purchases of supplies needed for the police department. Lieutenant Lyles, Deputy Chief Klokovich, and Sergeant Mueller were part of the team from the police department that worked on the grant. Lisa Griggs, Jennifer Brown, and Lisa Jones from the city's finance department all work with us to make sure we receive the money from DOJ. This team of city employees did an exceptional job working together. And then lastly, on Friday, June 5th, from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., the Senior Alliance will be putting out emergency food distribution for seniors with fresh produce box. This will be at the Senior Alliance at 5454 Vinoy Road, Wayne, Michigan, from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And it's individuals age 60 and older residing in our area, spouses of adults age 60 and older, and adults living with a disability residing with an individual 60 years and older. Okay, so we will make that available on our website. And then I said that before, almost lastly, on the last Tuesday, I had an opportunity to work and do Meals on Wheels, delivering the 5 meals that they have frozen food for Wayne County. And it made me realize how important these men and women are, where they go on a daily basis delivering what could be the only meal that these residents receive on a daily basis. So I just want to send a thank you to all of those that work with the Meals on Wheels program all through this pandemic. Just great job, and we appreciate all of your efforts. With that, I will move to the consent agenda. Resolved that the following items listed under the consent agenda be approved as presented to the Mayor and City Council. 1, approved minutes, regular meeting held May 18, 2020. 2, approved minutes, public hearing, fiscal year 2020-21 budget / May 18, 2020. 3, attend training, police tactical encounters rifle instructor. 4, attend training, police FEMA field force extrication tactics. 5, attend training, police center mass firearms instructor. And 6, participation residential rehab sewer lateral.
So move.
Support.
We have discussion?
Your Honor, if I could disclose that the participant in the sewer rehab program is my next door neighbor.
Okay.
Do I need to abstain, or am I good to vote?
No.
Nope. I don't think so. And our city attorney is saying no. So
Okay.
is there further discussion? All right. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilpersons Breeding,
Yes.
Higgins,
Yes.
Kelsey,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Salcido,
Yes.
and Mayor Carnes.
Yes. And I have to get this orange sheet back to the city clerk. Okay, the next item has a cover letter from our Director of Finance and Operations, Lisa Griggs. In background, the attached resolution outlines the recommended budget for the fiscal year 2020/21. The budget was presented to Mayor and Council in April, and the budget hearing was held on May 18, 2020, in accordance with the Public Act 442. There are no changes from the budget that was presented to Mayor and Council. As discussed, both the budget presentation and the public hearing, the city faces many financial unknowns at this time due to COVID-19 pandemic, and the recommendation is to pass the budget that's been presented, and any significant changes will require future budget amendments. The appropriations resolution included in the estimated tax millage rates to support the budget. Once the final millage rates are set, any changes to the anticipated revenues will be adjusted in the mid-year budget amendment. This budget includes the water and sewer rates, which are set to increase 7.27% based on the needs for capital, wages, and fringe benefits, operations, maintenance, and the rates passed along from GLWA and DUA. All right, so whereas, let's see. All right, a resolution to provide for adoption of a budget proposed by Mayor and Council containing estimates of proposed revenues and expenditures for fiscal year beginning July 1, 2020 and ending June 30, 2021 in millage rates to support this budget. Be it resolved that the City Council, the City of Lincoln Park, Section 1, that for the expenditures of city government and its activities for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2020 and ending June 30, 2021, the amounts in the following sections are hereby approved. Okay. That for fiscal year, there is hereby appropriated out of general fund activity based on the following. Is this, sorry for the interruption.
We read that whole,
What's that?
we don't normally read the whole, all of the figures.
Okay, that was my question, so it would,
But do read the operation in the millage rate at the end,
okay.
in the last paragraph that says.
Thank you for your,
On the last
Thank you.
page, section 17.
Section 17. Thank you, ladies. Section 17, be it further resolved that the following millage rates, as provided by the charter or statute, be assessed. Operating millage, 18.9059. Library millage, 0.5500. And that these are estimated millage rates at the time of preliminary budget presentation. The final equalization numbers have not been completed, so the actual millage rates are yet to be determined.
Support.
Okay, mover and supporter, we have discussion?
Through the chair, if I may.
Yes, sir.
In the budget had included some manpower for the DPS, and we all know that that's kind of going south a little bit, but one of the manpower issues was a mechanic. This mechanic was somebody that we have been looking for in the city for as many years as I can remember. I've been having a hard time finding a mechanic since the great reduction we had way before I came on council. Anyways, it was budgeted, and obviously the budget has changed based upon the COVID and everything else. My concern is, though, on this particular issue is that we still go forward because we only have one person still as a mechanic in the DPS to take care of all the equipment that doesn't go to the dealership, which includes all our rolling stock, which is police cars, DPS vehicles, fire engines, fire trucks to a certain extent, and everything else. We have spent a lot of money recently to acquire a lot of new pieces of equipment for DPS, as well as new patrol cars and some fire equipment. My concern is if we don't at least put this process in place to hire this person who was in the process, and because of COVID, him and a bunch of other people were not allowed to go to get their medical and so on and so forth. So I would propose that we make an exception to this particular budget because if we don't, the problem is we're going to skate on thin ice because we don't have any backup unless we're going to pay the going rate to the dealership, which is over $100 per hour to any kind of service that you have done. Plus, it will take 2 people to take that vehicle down to the dealership, one to follow the person and one to come back, which is a loss of time. Anyways, that's my concern. I've talked to the city manager about it, along with one other issue I'd like to bring up, but that's the first issue is I think we need to take a look at get that mechanic put through.
Well, the budget is approved, right? I mean, it's the position is covered in the budget. Is that right?
Mayor, it is, but I understand it's not because obviously, again, the COVID has come in place and we're not going forward with some of these positions, and this is one of them that I'm aware of, Your Honor.
Okay. James or Lisa, do you want to comment in reference to that?
This is Lisa. I'll just speak real quick. The position is still currently in the budget. There's no plans to take that position out of the budget.
Good.
I guess then a follow-up would be is that as soon as possible, then being the COVID is over for the physicals and all that, we can proceed to get this person brought in and taken and to finish up the process as soon as possible so we can get this person on board to start helping out at DPS. Am I correct then? There's nothing stopping that?
Well, I think that we could do this under the city manager's report.
Okay.
Okay, and I think that we can get that. But your second thing was?
The second one thing was is that I sent the email is that we tore up a lot of, meaning the city tore up a lot of yards for sewer repair over the year for sewer failures and so on and so forth, and did temporary repairs with temporary fences. And they acquired a lot of repair to be fixed. And the city's waiting until the weather gets nicer to do the grading and seeding and calling the fence company to come back where it's appropriate and so on and so forth. It's a lot of money, and I'm not sure if that's in the budget because last time we talked about it at the Zoom meeting, Lisa was still working with our DPS director to get the final figures, and I just want to make sure that that's in there because these people are expecting it, and it's disrupted their residents because we had to get in there. I mean, obviously, we got to fix the sewers, but I just want to make sure that we have the money budgeted because pretty soon we're going to start calling the fence companies and calling the landscaping companies and get online like everybody else is because of the COVID being backlog and everything and get this thing set up. And you have to have money if you're going to go out and ask for a service from an outside vendor.
If we tore it up, we should fix it. There's no question about that. But I would think that the department head would have submitted that with Lisa. Lisa, do you want to comment on that?
Yeah, so there is some money in there for it. I know there was some additional amounts that were sent last week, I believe. So the approach we're going to take on that is we have money available to do the repairs. If it becomes substantial where we need additional funding, then we would adjust the budget for those items.
All right, I just, was concerned because we left it at that conversation at the last Zoom meeting. So that's fine, as long as we have a process to go ahead. I know everything's fluid, but just so we have certain things that we already have done that we have to fix. So I'm satisfied with that.
Yeah, I'm in complete agreement. If we tore it up, we need to fix it. Is there further discussion?
Through the chair, this is Councilwoman Ross, Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a couple questions also. I want to start with Section 7, and it has to do with the Drug and Forfeiture Fund. I know that Lisa answered my question earlier because there's a big difference between the revenue and the expenditures. And she answered that they were going to use the funds so long as they were available. How do we reflect that in this budget? Because I don't want to approve the budget and then somebody assume that we can take roughly $400,000 from the general fund to cover this.
It wouldn't be coming from the general fund. It comes from the Drug and Forfeiture Fund. So as long as there's fund balance available to cover that, then it's not an issue. We would never submit a budget for a fund that didn't have the funds available in their fund balance. And we've done this for several years now as the funding in the Drug and Forfeiture Fund has gone down. But, as I said in the email, there's some additional anticipated funding that will be coming in there. But we use it to buy purchase our patrol vehicles. We've done that for quite a few years now, just, to offset any cost to the general fund that way. That helps it out. And then, all of the K-9, any drug-related expenses, those types of things. We also pay for the comp stat, crime mapping software out of there. But, and generally keep in mind too, they're setting the budget high with, we always spend the capital funds because we need those police vehicles. But they generally don't spend all of the money that's budgeted. We just want to plan for it that way because, we want to make sure that we have the budget available if they need it. But they generally don't spend it all. But we do have fund balance, and we have continued to watch that pretty closely the last, I'd say, 2 to 3 years because the revenue coming into that fund has gone down. But, we're hopeful that we'll get some more back in there. But, yeah, we'll continue to do that until we're not able to. Then we'll have to look at all, putting the capital items back into the general fund.
So is this the only fund then that, if it's low, does not, or to cover the expenditures is not covered by the fund balance?
Well, each fund has their own fund balance. So even the other funds, the cable fund has its own fund balance. Every fund has its own designated fund balance that can only be used specifically for that fund.
So am I correct in assuming that all these funds already have a balance, a positive balance?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
So then does that explain the EDC and the DDA also?
Yes, and keep in mind too that we don't really have the control over their budget. Council does adopt what they approve, but they ultimately set their own budget. But the EDC, for example, is another one who every year budgets way over what they actually spend. But they do plan in their budget. They like to budget for the loan program. That's where all of their revenue comes from. That and the billboard revenue that they get. They have a very, very limited revenue stream. But they generally are only spending $30,000 to $50,000 a year because they budget and plan for those loans, but they don't always give them out every year. They also, I think, have in their planned property acquisition if they need it. And by setting that budget too, it's given them that ability to make those purchases. And if it was not in there, then they wouldn't be able to put their purchase orders through without going back to their board every time to amend their budget. So they set it up front with the plans, but they don't always expend those funds.
Okay, thank you, Lisa.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Your Honor, I'm done.
Very good. Any further discussion? All right. Clerk, call the roll then.
Councilpersons Ross,
Yes.
Breeding,
Yes.
Higgins,
Yes.
Kelsey,
Yes.
Salcido,
Yes.
and Mayor Carnes.
Yes. So next item that we have has a cover letter from John Myers, our chief building official. And it's a resolution to adopt the City of Lincoln Park's updated community master plan, which is under the leadership of Leah Dumichel from Beckett and Rader. The subcommittee of the Planning Commission studied and reviewed the city's community master plan. After more than a year, the committee submitted their recommendations to the Planning Commission. And on November 13, 2019, the Planning Commission held a public hearing and unanimously voted to adopt the updated community master plan. A proposed copy of the master plan has been made available to Mayor, Council, and City Management and some departments. It is also available on our website also. So, resolved that the Mayor and Council of the City of Lincoln Park adopt the proposed updated community master plan of November 13, 2019.
So moved. Support.
Just in discussion, I want to thank those that were involved. I know that there were a lot of meetings that took place. Councilman Kelsey was a person that was involved in this, but a lot of work was done in order to bring that out. So good job by Leah and such. Further discussion?
Question, Your Honor.
Yes.
because we took a lot of time to do that, not we, all of us that were involved in the community and all that, would it be appropriate to make sure that the appropriate departments get a copy of this to refer to when they decide to do certain things? Because each department is affected in some way in the master plan. And I'm just trying to keep if you want to call it a roadmap, so that we don't veer off, that everybody is aware that when we do something, there was a master plan that went into play to help guide us through some of the decisions we're going to make in the future, if that's appropriate. I don't know if it is or isn't.
Well, I think that obviously it's available electronically, but I think also it would be a good idea to have a hard copy for each department head. James, is that something that could be done?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, very good. And speaking of which, a hard copy will be available also at the city management office and the city clerk's office to be able, if a citizen wishes to come in and review it. And it's on the electronic, it's on the website also. Yes, sir.
Here, Councilman Higgins, I'd also like a hard copy if possible to go to the library. A lot of people frequent that, and it'd be easiest for the public to see.
I agree. I mean, a lot of work went into it. It's something that we're proud of, and that's, if you have a plan and you follow the plan, usually you will succeed. So, but everybody's got to know what the plan is, right? Further discussion? Okay, clerk, call the roll.
Councilpersons Kelsey,
Yes.
Higgins,
Yes.
Reading,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Salcido,
Yes.
and Mayor Carnes.
Yes. So our next item get that straightened around. Next item has a cover letter from Doreen Christian, our Director of Community Planning and Development, Parks and Recreation. And the purpose is to enter in a contract with Great Lakes Contracting Solutions through the Ferris intersection improvements. In background, the mayor and council authorized Hennessy engineers to prepare, design, provide engineering specifications with bid documents and to solicit bids on February 3rd, 2020. The intersection will include Ferris and Stewart, Ferris and Mayflower, Ferris and Detroit, Ferris and Progress. The gravel dead end of Pennsylvania off Monty is also included in this project. The bids were opened on Wednesday, May 27, 2020, and Great Lakes Contracting Solutions is the lowest bidder. The bids received on this project were Great Lakes Contracting Solutions, $348,072.50. GV Cement Contracting Company, $358,285. Dominic Gaglio Construction, $381,850. Hartwell Cement, $457,646.50. Audia Contracting, $518,720. So then the resolution. Resolved that Great Lakes Contracting Solutions be awarded the bid for the CDBG Ferris intersection improvements in the amount of $348,072.50 plus a 5% contingency for the total of $365,476, as they are the lowest best bidder that meets all specifications. A 10% retention of the project cost shall be held to verify completion pursuant to the contract. Be it further resolved that the mayor and city clerk are authorized to execute documents necessary to accomplish this work. The funds to come from account number 24945-75519, Streets and Utilities.
So move.
Support.
Okay, discussion? Hearing none, then clerk call the roll.
Councilpersons Breeding,
Yes.
Salcido,
Yes.
Higgins,
Yes.
Kelsey,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
and Mayor Carnes.
Yes. All right. Next we have Under background, Hennessy Engineers Incorporated, on behalf of the City of Lincoln Park DPS, solicited bids for the 2020 utility concrete repair program. City received 5 bids for this project, and the low bidder was Great Lakes Contracting Solutions of Waterford, Michigan. So the bids received were Great Lakes Contracting Solutions, $593,025. Audia Contracting, $707,164. GV Cement Contracting Company, $721,030. Century Cement, $972,040. Hutch Paving, $1,131,610. So resolved, the mayor and city council hereby award the bid for the 2020 utility concrete repair program to Great Lakes Contracting Solutions of Waterford, Michigan, for a total amount not to exceed $593,025 to come from account number 420-923-983-000 Water and Sewer Capital. Be it further resolved that the mayor and city clerk be authorized to sign all pertinent contract documents.
So move.
Support.
All right, I have a question for, I guess it would go to John. The previous resolution had a contingency that was held for, just in case for repairs. I don't see a contingency here or the 5%. Why is that different, or am I just missing something?
No, you are correct. The reason we did not put any contingency into it right now, with some of the other water and sewer issues taking place in the city, I'm not so sure about the fund balance on either one of those. If we do have to increase costs or need additional money, at this point in time, I'd rather come back to the mayor and council and ask for that concurrence to add money to the contract. Unless the mayor and council would rather put it in there now.
Okay, is anyone, I apologize, but did everyone receive that or to hear that at all?
I did.
For the most part, yeah.
Okay, basically, he says that he would prefer to come back to us if there is cost overruns because of other funds that are in different of the budgets, but are the other projects you have going? Is that, all right,
That's correct.
all right.
Through the chair, may I ask a question then?
Sure, go ahead.
All right, if we don't have a contingency fund, if in fact we're not pleased with the work that they do, this doesn't tie us up at all or whatever. Normally the money is held back in case there's any overruns, but I just want to make sure that we're not putting ourselves out there without having that buffer. I don't know if it makes a difference.
That's exactly what I'm thinking about, Council President. I'd feel more comfortable with it being included in.
If that's a choice of the mayor and council, then I would just simply ask in the resolution that you add 10, Hennessy Engineering is recommending 25%. We could arbitrarily add that presently. My thoughts were a little bit different, with maybe the water and sewer funds having a little bit of a financial difficulty to come back later, of which the mayor pro tem had brought up the idea or the fact of, if we go over, would that create a problem? Or Council President, I'm sorry. The choice is yours. If you put in a contingency amount, I still believe that we will have to watch closely, and I would have to probably try to stay closer to both the city manager and the finance director so that we don't exceed money available in the water and sewer fund.
I would be if I may,
Yes, go ahead.
comfortable with the. I would be comfortable with a 10% contingency, not a 25%, but that's standard for most of our contracts. But
And I'd be comfortable.
Yep.
I'd be comfortable with a 10% also. Would that be good for the mover and supporter? That a 10% contingency would be retention of the project cost shall be held to verify completion pursuant to the contract?
I'm fine with that.
You okay with adding that language?
I'm sorry?
You were the supporter, are you okay with
Yes.
adding that language?
Yes, but I also had a question, Your Honor.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm looking at the bids that came in, and there's a big difference too, and I think that contingency makes me more comfortable with that. But I do have to ask Mr. Kazoo if they did go through that contract with a fine tooth comb and make sure that, you know, everything is dotted and crossed.
So are you happy with the work that these people have done at other places?
I'm happy with their past performance, yes. Do I know whether or not they've gone through our bid with a fine-tooth comb to make sure all of their costs are covered? No, I don't have that ability, nor do I want to even entertain that. But what we did ask was, of the bidder from Great Lakes Contracting, are you happy with your number and your bid? Because you did leave quite a bit on the table, and the answer was yes, they are.
Okay, then, yes. Who is
Through
our,
the chair, I just,
go ahead.
if I may.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I just want to make sure that, I mean, I think the councilwoman is asking, do we have, are we covered in there as far as the work that they do, or the timeline, the duration of this contract, and how long the coverage, liability coverage, and everything else? I think that's what she was asking. She wanted to make sure that the city of Lincoln Park is covered, that it's a standard and it's all in the contract. But maybe I'm mistaken.
So that's a good point. That is a very good point, because it's a big difference in the bids. That's all.
The state of Michigan, and I would hope that the city attorney would help me if I misspeak, but the state of Michigan allows a 10% contingency to be held or retained back. And if you find that the contractor is not performing per contract and as they should be, you can use some of that money or all of that money to correct their omissions and failed products. As you go through a contract, as you get over 50%, then you do have to reduce that retention. But toward the very end, you can hold a lump sum if you're having any issues. And that is a state statute.
Did you, has Great Lakes done work for us in the city?
Yes, they have. They did Emmons Road, I think it was 2 years ago. The repaving from basically 4th Street down to the Emmons Street Bridge.
And did you have issues with their work?
The only issues we had, but not with their work, but that particular year, I don't know if anybody remembers, but there was a labor contract dispute. But not caused by them. That was a state labor dispute.
They had to shut down for a little while.
Correct.
I remember that. Councilwoman Ross, did you have anything else?
No, that's it. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, Council President, are you set?
Yes.
All right, any further discussion? All right, then clerk, call the roll, please.
Councilperson Higgins?
Yes.
Ross?
Yes.
Breeding?
Yes.
Kelsey?
Yes.
Salcido?
Yes.
And Mayor Carnes.
Yes. The next item also has a, let's say also, doesn't have his signature on it, but I think that it is from our DPS director, Mr. Kazoo. And in background, on April 20, 2020, the mayor and city council authorized the DPS to go out and inspect city sidewalks and then solicit bids for same. Bids were received on Wednesday, May 27, 2020. The lowest bid received was from A-Land Construction Incorporated of Dearborn Heights, Michigan. So the bids were total bid amount for A-Land Construction Incorporated was $60,025. KD Cement LLC was at $62,606.25. Great Lakes Contracting Solutions was $66,062.50. GV Cement Contracting, $68,118.75. Audia Construction, $78,627.50. Century Cement Company Incorporated, total bid amount of $90,300. So, resolved that Mayor and City Council award the 2020 Sidewalk Repair Program to A Land Construction Incorporated for a total amount not to exceed $60,025 to come from account number 410-001-983000 Capital Improvement Fund. Be it further resolved that Mayor and City Clerk be authorized to sign all pertinent contract documents.
So, support.
I would look for the same 10% retention. Is that normal for all of our contracts when we're doing that, John?
It has not been in the past for the sidewalk program.
Okay. All right. And I'll go with that. Further discussion?
Question through the chair for John. When is this roughly supposed to start? I'm curious.
When is the program supposed to start, sir?
We sent out notices last Thursday, and by ordinance, we have to give the residential homeowner 30 days to make their own conscientious decision, hire the work out to their contractor of choice, do the work themselves, or do nothing, and after 30 days, the city can and will go in and make those repairs for the homeowner, and then invoice the homeowner for the work completed.
Quick question. If, say there was a city tree that contributed to the need for the piece to be replaced, the slab, does the city share responsibility or share costs with that?
That was a process passed approximately 2 years ago by mayor and council. If the tree roots were cause to lift the sidewalk square, the city would participate and split the cost with the homeowner at a 50-50 ratio.
Now, is that ratio the same as with our contractor doing it, or if a citizen does it on their own?
If the contractor does it, well, we would invoice the homeowner for the cost if our contractor does it. If they do that with a contractor, then what my suggestion and past performance has been is we would pay the homeowner back at a cost not to exceed what we would be paying our contractor.
Thank you, sir.
And-
Sorry for the side road, folks. I just had a couple emails in reference to that earlier today. Further discussion on the sidewalk program?
I do, Your Honor. And I'm not sure if John answered this because I couldn't quite hear everything he was saying.
Oh, okay.
For the sidewalk program, I would like to know if there's a procedure in place to prevent discrepancies between the homeowner saying that they did the work versus the contractor saying they did the work.
There should be two, in my mind, two means for that. In our letter, if a homeowner or a contractor of their choice choose to do the work, then they're supposed to be pulling a permit through the building department.
He's relaying, I don't know if you can hear him, that they would know through the permit process of either the homeowner or the contractor pulling it for that location. Is there anything else?
And the only thing I was going to add to that is if they do the proper procedure, they or their contractor of choice pulls a permit to do the sidewalk in front of any one homeowner or address, then the building department should have a permit on record. There should also be an inspection report for that particular location and who the contractor is of record that pulled that permit and or did the installation of the concrete with a date on it. We also have an inspector watching over our contractor and the dates of the various pours at various addresses.
Yeah, it's all going to come down to the building department inspections and when the date was done and by their records, verify it.
And our inspector.
And our inspector, absolutely.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Does that Are you all set, Councilman Ross?
Yep.
All right, further discussion? Clerk, call the roll, please.
Were we adding the 10% contingency on this one? too?
No, that didn't, that hasn't been a part of the program before, and I accept that.
That's fine. Okay. Councilpersons Kelsey,
Yes.
Reading,
Yes.
Higgins,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Salcido,
Yes.
and Mayor Carnes.
Yes. Okay. The next item, and before I get to that, James, I don't have the resolution for the next item. You could help me out with that. In discussion, do we have a cover letter from Doreen Christian, our Community Development Parks and Recreation Director? The City of Lincoln Park went out for request for proposal for administrative planning and support services for HUD funding CDBG and home programs. The city received 3 proposals, and they were open on Wednesday, May 20. 2 of the 3 proposals did not include the bid bond and were disqualified. Therefore, it is recommended that Hennessy Engineers be awarded the projects for the 5-year consolidated plan, annual action plans, and consolidated annual performance evaluation report. Hennessy Engineers is experienced with HUD procedures needed to produce the necessary reports, and they're in the company that is now furnishing this service to the city. Looking. Thanks, sir. All right. So in the resolution, whereas the Department of Housing and Urban Development requires that communities receiving federal funds produce a 5-year CDBG consolidation plan, annual action plans, and the consolidated annual performance evaluation reports. And whereas the city went out for RFPs for a company to provide the necessary service to provide a HUD with these documents. Resolved that Hennessy Engineers be awarded the job of providing administrative, planning, and support services for HUD-funded CDBG and home programs. Be it further resolved that the mayor and city clerk are authorized to sign all documents necessary to accomplish this work. Funds to come from CDBG budget account number 24945, in parentheses 46, out of parentheses, dash 710, administration.
So moved.
Support.
Okay. Carrie, did you get the mover and supporter?
I got a couple of them.
Okay,
Pick one.
but you're set, you're set then?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. Discussion?
Through the chair, Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
Councilman Sasso, just a quick question. 2 of the 3 proposals did not enclose the bid bond and were disqualified. Was there a miscommunication or something? This seems odd that 2 would be disqualified for the same thing. I don't know if Doreen can answer that.
Doreen, are you on that call?
She's muted.
Okay, if we can,
Or if any way you want to comment on it, it just seems weird. Was the communication properly communicated to them, I guess? That's my question.
Yes, it was. It was in the bid specs, and it was also in the checklist. Make sure you put all this stuff in your resolution. It was right listed in there too, that they had to have a bid bond.
Thank you, Doreen.
You're welcome.
okay, further discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Councilpersons Breeding,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Higgins,
Yes.
Kelsey,
Yes.
Salcido,
Yes.
and Mayor Carnes.
Yes. All right. The next item has a cover letter from our city manager, James Grzan. And as information we'll go through, as we have discussed over the past few months, the COVID-19 outbreak has created real financial challenges for not just our city, but other cities, states, and the nation. We are facing a large budget deficit for the current fiscal year as well as the next fiscal year. We have done a great deal to try and mitigate this, but we should do more. Unfortunately, the biggest cost that the city can control is that of personnel. On May 11, 2020, the mayor and council approved the city's reopening plan and the temporary layoff of part-time employees. We still need to do more to address the looming budget holes. When I proposed the original reopening plan, we were anticipating the lifting of Governor Whitner's safer at home order and the return to some semblance of normal provision of services by May 28th. Unfortunately, that did not happen. The governor extended her order until June 12, 2020. There's a possibility, as we saw, that she will extend this order again for our region, which she hasn't. But as of now, we intend to open city facilities on June 15th, unless the governor extends a safe at home order. But as it is, we'll be opening on the 8th, as we said earlier. As an extension of our current part-time employee layoff program, I'm proposing that the city participate in Michigan's Work Share program. This program is a form of underemployment where we identify units that will experience hour reductions of between 10 and 60%. As a requirement for this program, all affected employees must retain their normal fringe benefits. For us, we would plan to reduce all units by 20%, which is 1 day per week. For most of the units, this will be accomplished by closing city facilities 1 day per week. For DPS, they will remain staffed 5 days per week, but will only have half staff on Monday and Fridays. This program will not affect the frontline police officers or firefighters, though it will affect the PD through the Records Bureau and the LP Pride. The program will benefit the city and employees. The city will save an estimated $33,000 per month while implementing this program. Employees that benefit from being eligible for additional $600 per week unemployment benefit provided by the Federal CARES Act. None of the affected employees will see an actual reduction in income. We have been in contact with the unions of those that would be affected, and they have indicated their support. I am proposing this program to run through the months of June and July. We will return to normal activity on August 3rd. To address what should be a temporary budgetary crisis, yes, this will affect services in the short term. However, taking step now to address our fiscal reality should help us to avoid any long-term or permanent reductions in the services that we provide. I understand that this is not an easy decision. You must weigh the balance of the short and long-term fiscal health of the city with the needs to provide those services the residents require. However, it would be irresponsible for the administration to not recommend participation in this program to address this issue. And provided Mayor and Council approve this program, the city will utilize all methods of communication available to provide information to the residents about the altered hours of city facilities. So the resolution is, whereas the City of Lincoln Park has a duty to protect the financial health of the organization, whereas the COVID-19 outbreak has created a short-term financial crisis, whereas the city desires to participate in the Michigan Work Share program to reduce employee hours as a cost savings measure. Now therefore be it resolved that the mayor and city council hereby authorize the city to participate in the Michigan Work Share program. Be it further resolved, for the months of June and July 2020, city offices and facilities will be closed. For the months of June and July 2020, city offices and facilities will be closed to the public. Is it, did you want to specify the
It should
date?
say Friday.
Okay, so be it further resolved that for the months of June and July 2020, city offices and facilities will be closed to the public on Fridays. And I will move on this.
I'll support.
Okay, I'm going to turn it over to start with our city manager for discussion, sir.
Right. So this is not a decision that we bring to you lightly. We've certainly been doing a lot of due diligence over the last few weeks, kicking this around. And there's certainly been the fluid nature of the current climate and crisis has made this necessary. We are looking at potentially $1 million out of our general fund balance for this year alone. And as you saw in the budget you approved tonight, we're close to $300,000 for next year. We need to be making sure we're being as diligent as possible. As of right now, city offices have been closed. We've been closed since March 13th. So even as we start opening up, it's going to indicate an increase of services from the last few months, even with Fridays being closed. That $33,000 a month that we can save is real money, and is really, it's important for us to be doing everything we can, even as we do continue to monitor expenditures and cut out any unnecessary spending. there's only so much we can do there. There's only so much discretionary spending the city has at this point. And we didn't have the available staff to be able to do this without closing city facilities. So I'm happy to take any questions.
Yes, so further discussion? Good.
I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead, sir.
Well, I guess I got a few questions. Life still goes on, unfortunately. We're a city, so we just don't stop it. I understand, and I'm not arguing about your rationale. I'm just saying that if we're going to open up the parks, for example, somebody's going to have to empty the trash and all that. If we're down to 4 days a week, it's going to cause a problem there. Okay, and I understand it's not do or die. But what about the clerk's office? I mean, we have an election coming up in August, and we have one coming up in November, and everybody is, including myself, got applications for absentee voting. I'm wondering how I guess what I'm saying, when you bounce this off the department heads, was there any exceptions to the rule, or everybody's going off on Friday? I guess that's my big question.
So the clerk's office will still be working on Fridays. There would be no way we could effectively administer an election in August down to one person. The city hall will still be closed, which will actually, I think, help them be able to process the AV applications, the actual AVs as they come in. But they will still be here even though city hall is closed.
Okay, so that's, through the chair, that's the only position that we're letting still work. The rest, everybody is going to be, as it says in this resolution or in the cover letter, am I correct?
Police, fire, myself, we will be here.
Okay, well, that's it. I'm sorry, I'm done. I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you, Councilman Ross.
Just to follow up on what Councilman Kelsey was saying, James, what about the building department?
I spoke with our building official on Friday about this, and he indicated to me he would have no problem being able to maintain services and keep everything up to date as best he can, even with no staff on Friday.
Okay, thank you.
Through the chair,
Yes, ma'am, go ahead.
I've been here 150 years in the city, and it just breaks my heart, all of these drastic changes that we have to make and providing services. But we don't want to put ourselves in a position where we have to bring in another emergency manager or file bankruptcy. It's disillusioning that we've come to this, but it's not in our control. We haven't had any say-so over this, and so when it upsets me, and I hate that we're having to do these drastic measures or whatever. We have to look out for the actual finances of the city and try to stay afloat so that we do not crumble again, because that was a disaster having an emergency manager here. It was a disaster, a dictatorship. So that's all I have to say. I don't want to get all emotional about it, but I hate that we're having to take these drastic measures that the citizens are going to feel. But I do believe that we will be able to muster through. Hopefully, by the grace of God, something will come to where we can actually open back up and everything else. But in the meantime, I just wanted to say that I hate that we're having to do it, but I understand it. That's all I have.
I understand, and I concur with what you're saying, and it's also fortunate that even though we have to do this, that the employees are said not to suffer as a result of this, that through the work-share program, they'll be able to remain whole, which is a
Your
which
Honor,
is a
through
good
the
thing.
chair, if I may.
Go ahead, sir.
I also would like to concur. I was here before the last was, and we did not act fast enough, and we did not act in accordance, and we've seen what happened. We're getting ahead of the situation, and that's what we need to do to be prudent with our money, and we're doing it for the city as a whole. And I just want to say that we have to do this.
Okay.
And one more comment, if I may, through the chair.
Yes, go ahead.
I want to thank the city manager. I mean, he got thrown into all of this stuff right in the very beginning and everything else. And so for him to bring these ideas to us and to research and to follow through and present it to us so that we can make the decision, I appreciate. That's all.
So I think we all concur with that. Further discussion?
Through the chair, Your Honor.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
In light of my colleagues, I feel their sentiment. I'm going to make an amendment, and I'm going to leave it up to my colleagues to support it or not. So my amendment is, and maybe Attorney Zelnick can correct me, but in the intent to help protect the financial health of Lincoln Park and help in a financial crisis, that the mayor and city council accept half pay for the months of June and July. That's my motion. My employees are taking a hit. I think as elected officials, we need to chip in. So that's my amendment.
Oh, I'll support that.
I'd like to go through the chair. I'd like to go through one step further. I mean, I think we should just give up our pay. I mean, I'm not being smart. I just think for June, I mean, if you're going to lead by example, I mean, it's not like we're making $1 million on these jobs. So I think just let it go June and July, and what the heck, we're going to be back in August, hopefully. I mean, and that shows real leadership, I think, and that's my opinion. If you're going to lead by example and be elected, I think that way it smooths the understanding that we're willing, as making decisions that are uncomfortable for us, to go the full force. And it's just for 2 months. I mean, I don't think anybody's going to hurt over that, but it's the point of showing the perception of leadership that, hey, we're not, we're going to go and all bowl in just, for the 2 months. And that would be my, and I guess, amendment to amendment, but I agree with you.
My colleagues, I'm all for it.
I think that it's just my opinion. I mean, I think it shows not only sincerity from us as elected officials, but the seriousness that this is a serious problem. And I would hope that whatever decision we make, that we do something similar to those lines, whether it's half or full or whatever. Thank you, Your Honor.
Well, with the understanding that no one files for unemployment, so that instead of the $300 or whatever we make, it's then $600 a week.
Yeah.
2 separate resolutions, Mayor. One dealing
Through the
with
chair.
employees is presented, so you don't.
It's understood.
Hold on 1 second, please. What's that?
Can I use the microphone?
Yes, please.
Mayor and council, it would be my recommendation to keep the language clear as proposed by the city manager. You have 2 separate resolutions, one dealing with the employees where it affects the unemployment situation, then council and the mayor undertake a second resolution dealing with whatever your salary is, whatever give back you're giving.
Are you saying that let the resolution go forward as it stands, and any additional items or things that we would do with our salary would be a second resolution?
Separate resolution, that's right.
I'll retract my amendment then. That's no problem.
Take off my support.
I'll just leave my comment where it's at. I didn't make anything, so through the chair, sorry.
And you can do it tonight or whatever you like. Council can just indicate they're giving the money back too. It's whatever you prefer to do. But this keeps payroll clear with the employees.
Let me have hang on one second here. I'm getting information from the city attorney at the present time.
Council can choose to handle their salary in a manner of ways, either by resolution, just a concurrent resolution by the entire mayor and council, following this one, or just giving your salary back. Either one. It's better for the image here to do it by resolution, but please just adopt the first one to keep bookkeeping purposes clear.
Okay, so what he's recommending basically is that we go forward with this, and then what action we choose to do after that would be that circumstances.
That's right.
I don't want to, I'm in favor of what you're talking about, but we are realizing that the employees are not losing out here. They're being compensated by the feds, right?
I agree, but there is a financial hit that the city has taken, so that's where I'm coming from. So we'll move this motion forward, and we'll take it from there.
Okay, so further
But
discussion.
I need to ask a question from Ed,
All right, go ahead.
if I may, through the chair.
Yes, go ahead.
Because it's a public act that does the compensation commission, can council just pass it? I'm all in favor of giving it up. But can council do it since it's a public act that creates the local officers compensation commission that sets the salary? Do we have that authority
as a general rule, the opinions have held you cannot change your salary on your own midterm. The reason you permitted the compensation commission was to have them make the decision for the period of time that they prescribed. Council giving it back, that's why I suggested doing it as a separate resolution in case there was some type of a challenge or question of your authority, because clearly it is in opposition to the general rule of the statute and the local compensation ordinance. I don't want to cloud the first issue, so I would ask that you vote on the first issue, and then if you're going to proceed secondarily with yours as a give back or a return, in other communities where they've given it back, they've just given it back without regard to the consequences. I know the tax consequences are not that monumental here, and that would be all you would face. It would still be listed at the end of the year, I presume, as your income, but you're giving it back to the city.
All right. Did everyone hear that?
Yes.
No, so it was heard. I wasn't sure if that was being, if you guys were able to pick that up. Okay. So for the first, or for the original resolution, is there further discussion?
Just one last comment, Your Honor, and I know the city manager put it in there. Make sure that we promote this as much as we can. I know you wrote it in there, but I'm just saying we go out of our way to promote it, because the more information we get out there, the less conversation we'll have with, I didn't know, or nobody told me, and it's our society. And I'm just saying, the more that we do this, I think the better off we have, because we've covered the mediums, which I think you have. That would be my only, and I think you covered it, but I want to make sure we do that. That's all. Thank you.
All right. Further discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Mayor Carnes?
Yes.
Councilpersons Breeding?
Yes.
Higgins?
Yes.
Kelsey?
Yes.
Ross? And Salcido?
Yes.
Okay. Then the next item on the agenda is the, there's a cover letter from Carrie Kerr. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the state of Michigan recently sent absentee voter applications to all registered voters in the state. As a result, we are seeing a huge increase in the request for absentee ballots. In the last 4 days, we have received almost 500 applications, with over 400 of those voters asking to be added to the permanent list. This increase in absentee voting will result in smaller in-person voter turnouts with the current pandemic situation. I expect to encounter difficulties fully staffing 12 separate locations. I believe we can meet the needs of our voters with just 4 in-person locations. This consolidation of locations requires approval of the City Council. Election workers are always a scarce commodity, but COVID-19 is creating even more recruitment challenges. Having multiple precincts at the same location allows better use of our election workers. We would need fewer workers at our in-person locations and can assign more at the absentee counting boards. So whereas, in accordance with the Michigan Election Law 168.662 in parentheses 4, the local governing body is charged with approving any and all changes in voting precinct locations. Therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and council hereby approve the temporary relocation of the following precincts. Precinct number 2, Ropp School, to Lafayette School, 1360 Lafayette. Precinct number 10, Board of Education, to Linkin Park Middle School, 2800 Lafayette. Precinct number 14, Keppen School, to Kennedy Memorial Building, 3240 Ferris. Precinct number 16, Carr School, to Kennedy Memorial Building, 3240 Ferris, per the recommendation of the city clerk.
So moved.
Support.
Okay, discussion? Clerk, call the roll. Oh, go ahead.
If I could just ask that we get this posted too, like on the website and on the TV channel. Okay, thank you.
That's not a problem at all. And just so you know, notices actually get mailed to the individual voters' homes telling them of the relocation. That's the state.
I figured, but just to be on the safe side.
And on election day, as well, we do post notices at the original locations telling them where they need to be for that day.
Thank you.
All right, further discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Councilperson Salcido,
Yes.
Reading,
Yes.
Higgins,
Yes.
Kelsey,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
and Mayor Carnes.
Yes. Next item is resolved that a study session be scheduled to discuss the proposed marijuana licensing ordinance on June 15, 2020 at 6:30 PM. Be it further resolved that pursuant to Governor Whitmer's Executive Order 2020-75, the meeting will be held electronically via Zoom.
Support.
Discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Councilpersons Kelsey,
Yes.
Higgins,
Yes.
Reading,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Salcido,
Yes.
Mayor Carnes.
Yes. So the next action item is whereas the city manager has requested the scheduling of a special meeting for the purposes of entering a closed session to discuss collective bargaining to be scheduled for Wednesday, June 3rd, 2020 at 5:30 PM. Be resolved that the mayor and city council hereby schedule a special meeting for the purposes of a closed session discussing collective bargaining to be held on June 3rd, 2020 at 5:30 PM in the John A. Awassi Council Chambers, 1355 Southfield Road, Lincoln Park, Michigan, 48146.
I'll move.
Any discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Councilpersons Kelsey,
Yes.
Reading,
Yes.
Higgins,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
Salcido,
Yes.
and Mayor Carnes.
Yes. So, we have resolved that the council claims payable for those items greater than $25,000 be approved as follows.
Sir, we're going to do that miscellaneous resolution? The one from Salcido?
And what would the resolution be? If you want to, with your wording?
Suspend, we're going to suspend the salary.
Yes.
I can reread it if you want me to, what I had, and you guys, we're going,
Mayor, may I intercede just for a moment here?
Hold on one second.
I'd suggest that council keep it simple and put it in the terms that they are going to return the remuneration for the months of June and July to the city of Lincoln Park. In effect, refusing to accept their compensation for the months of June and July. That keeps it simple. You can't suspend an action of the Compensation Commission, irrespective of the fact they took no further action this year to increase or decrease. So you're not indicating on the record that you're going to violate the terms or disobey their order. You're indicating merely that you're returning your salary and you will not accept your salary for the months of June and July in response to the COVID crisis, the financial crisis hitting the community. And I think the city clerk's correct. There's a statute that covers that. In this way, you're not just staring in the face of the statute, you're taking an affirmative action. The former city clerk, I'm sorry, council president.
Once the clerk, always the clerk.
And I can work with the current city clerk, the unopposed city clerk, to dress the language up. If that meets council's approval, and the points are two: first, you're not disobeying an order of another appointed body or the state statute, but secondly, you're moving forward with affirmative action to restore some grace to the city.
Just a quick comment, Your Honor. I don't know if Mr. Kreizon, our city manager, if you crunch the numbers, how much would that be for the 2 months to help the city?
$2,000 the most.
Well, it would be $1,600 for me personally. I know that much.
I did some math. I was thinking 8,000 a month, but I'm not sure if that's true. Mr. James? Or Lisa?
Sounds pretty close, but I would defer to our finance director.
Hi, I just pulled it up. It looks like it's about $4,000 a month. So for the 2 months, depending if you did half or whole. So it would be just under 8,000 for all of it, or 4,000 for half of it. over the 2 months.
I'm just gonna let it ride right now. If anyone else wants to take action, that's fine.
I'm sorry, through the chair, if everybody's done, I'd like to support, just have it, we talked about donating the months of June and July back because of blah, 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 what he said. I mean, out of Carlos, I don't mean to jump on that. I mean, that's up to you. If you still want it half, I'll support that either way you want to.
One of my colleagues said, so I'm fine either way.
As I'm going to throw out in comment here that I support what the idea of this going through, but the salary that I get as mayor is something that I have budgeted in. And since the amount that has been reduced with our health care being eliminated is those funds that I count on to pay for the health insurance that I have. I think that what you're talking about is double the hardship for me that it is for all the other folks that are here. Yes, I am mayor, and I've been in getting that, and I've gone when the emergency manager was here as serving a year without pay also. But for those reasons, if we want to give back, and if everyone wants to give back a set amount, I'd be supportive of that. But currently not supportive of where I would give up twice of what the rest of the council is. Because it would put a financial hardship on me. I mean, I understand, you see, with our employees, and it's a good gesture to make it, but our employees are not losing anything. They're being made whole here with that. So I understand the gesture, but it's just that it creates a hardship for me personally is what I bring up. So go ahead. Who is next?
I was just gonna say that, that's what I don't know if it has to be unanimous or a set figure. I'll go with a certain figure, whatever. I mean, I don't really, my whole point of it is that if you're gonna, I guess my point of it is a lot of people in the city, not just the employees, but everybody's been hit by this COVID, okay? And we're gonna have a lot more problems before we get past this, which I understand. I think it shows a little bit of, and this is a union term, but it's an appropriate term, solidarity with people that are going to go through, and Mayor, your situation is different from mine, but I think however we want to do it, to me, it shows that we are not only not immune to what's happening, but we understand the decisions we make are for the city to get over some of this stuff. And I think sometimes it's symbolism, but it's also important that it's a thing that we took on our own. Nobody came to us and said that we had to do this. And I think Carlos made a good point. He brought that up. I mean, that's just where I'm coming from. However this turns out, I'm supportive, but I think it should be easy for the accountant or for Lisa to do it, so it's easier for her to keep track. That's my opinion. I mean, that's where I'm speaking from. I mean, everybody else has a different financial thing. But I'm just going along with whatever. I just threw that out. Councilman Sosito threw out an issue. However we decide, I think we should do something that shows, in my opinion, again, that's me. That's how I do business. And I'm not knocking anybody. I understand that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that it would be easier, I think, for the city when we do these things to not only show that it affects everybody, but we are still concerned. I guess I'll stop where I'm going because I think I've made my point.
I got you, and I would be happy to pay exactly or give back exactly what council gives back.
That's fine. Through the chair, that's fine with me, Mayor. I have no problem.
Okay.
With that. And I understand that. I mean, that works out for me. What I'm saying, I have no problem with that.
And then everybody would feel the bite the same way.
I was just going to say, Your Honor, if I may, if I could make a few comments too.
Sure, go ahead.
I think it's a noble gesture, but we don't know each other's finances, and I think it was very heartwarming for Mayor to admit that he uses those funds to pay his insurance, and I certainly do not want to create a hardship for any one of us.
I agree.
But as the words were put out by council earlier, is that there are a lot of people in town that are suffering, a lot of businesses that are in town that are suffering. So, I mean, and we should all give back towards that. But I'm just looking at everybody have an equal share of what that amount is, that's all.
Good point.
Then let's just do half.
That's fine.
I would agree to that.
I'm sorry.
That sounds reasonable.
Okay, then, yes,
For the month of June and July.
yes, and that is that good with the mover and the supporter?
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
yes. I mean, I have no problem. That's fine. That's more than, yeah, that's fine.
All right, then.
And I would say, if I may, through the chair, I would put 50% in the resolution when it actually gets printed up or whatever, and that way it's more apparent than just half. You know, that's just my suggestion.
There you go. Carrie, are you good with the what the resolution is?
Yes.
All right. What's being discussed, is that good with the mover and supporter?
Yes, and I thank everybody for chiming in, and it was just something I thought about all weekend, and unfortunately, I don't have a forum to just call everybody up and tell them what's on my mind, because I don't think that's right either. So I threw it out there. You know, a lot of people are sacrificing, so thank you very much.
Okay.
I'm fine. I think it's a great gesture, and it's a good process. And I want to thank everybody because, like Councilman Ross said, and she's right, we all have different financial, and I respect that. And I think we'll all come together, and that's the best part. We always have, always will, and I'll leave that where it's at. Thank you.
There you go. I mean, that's a good idea for all. Is there further discussion with this? All right. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilperson Salcido,
Yes.
Kelsey,
Yes.
Breeding,
Yes.
Higgins,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
and Mayor Carnes.
Yes. So we have accounts and claims payable. So resolved that accounts and claims payable for those items greater than $25,000 be approved as follows. The first two items are check release for due date. That would be Blue Cross Blue Shield June 2020 retiree Medicare, $36,106.11. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan June 2020 retirees and SB actives, $160,771.63. 25th District Court, June 2020 monthly payment, October, November, December 2019 drug court expenses, March, April 2020 MIDC expense, $75,872.47. GFL Environmental USA Incorporated, June 2020 residential curbside and recycling collection in city dumpsters, $193,371.93. Hennessy Engineers Incorporated, CDBG Sanitary Sewer Lining, General Consulting, DWSD TAC and AWG Consulting, MDWQ Annual Stormwater Report, Water Distribution Asset Management Plan, Bridge Inspections, Emergency Utility Repairs, Verizon Wireless Metro Act, MCI Detroit Projects, 2019 Road Reconstruction, 2019 Road Bond, Asphalt Resurfacing, 2019 SRF, 2020 Asphalt Resurfacing Phase 1 and 2, 2020 Concrete Reconstruction Phase 1 and 2, 2020, and Concrete Sectioning and Site Plan Reviews, $126,230.18. This next item had the check release for due date, which is PNC Institutional Investments, Police and Fire Pension Fund, pension final payment, $2,941,860.55. City of Wyandotte, Jan to March 2020 Downriver Dispatch quarterly payment of $70,805.31. Okay, discussion? All right, clerk, call the roll.
Councilpersons Ross,
Yes.
Kelsey,
Yes.
Breeding. Council President Breeding's muted.
There she is.
Yes.
Councilman Higgins,
Yes.
Salcido,
Yes.
and Mayor Carnes.
Yes. Okay, we've reached the time for our city manager's report. Mr. Cruzan?
Thank you, Mayor. I want to start tonight by acknowledging the work of our finance director, Lisa Griggs, as well as the rest of the staff in preparation of the coming fiscal year's budget. preparing a budget is a daunting task, even in normal financial and circumstantial times. Like this budget actually began being developed in, which was a completely different world than we're in now. Lisa and the rest of the team have done a very good job recognizing and anticipating the needed adjustments as we've been going on. We're going to have a year filled with consistent monitoring and adjusting the budget as we get a handle on this COVID-19 pandemic and the fallout from it. So a couple updates on the reopening. Yes, the mayor mentioned that the governor has essentially lifted the stay-home order. We are now planning to open City Hall on June 8th. Our temporary ramp is expected to be delivered tomorrow, hopefully installed and ready to go by Wednesday, so we can maintain City Hall as a single entry, single exit facility, so we can control traffic flow through the building. And also, as we approved tonight, once we do reopen for city buildings, we will be closed on Fridays as we try and reduce costs in response to the budget crisis. We are now going to be working with Gleaners Community Food Bank to try and coordinate a set of food distributions over the summer. We're looking at 3 dates in total, one in each month of June, July, and August. More details will be coming as we get things ironed out. About 10 days ago, we received word that we were a recipient of one of the Michigan Treasury grants. We had applied for four different projects through the state of Michigan Treasury Department, and we were successful with our project to install a generator here at City Hall, and so we have backup power. Quickly touching base, as far as the mechanic position that is in the budget, as far as I understand, we were still pretty early in the hiring process. I think an interview was being scheduled before all this came out. So we'll continue, I believe, moving on with the process. I do want to touch base, as you guys were talking about the master plan, and Councilman Kelsey mentioned how it's a roadmap, and truly, all decisions, everything we do should be kind of pointing towards that master plan. So it is really important that we all, everybody knows what's in it, everybody understands their role in trying to accomplish the goals set out in that document. So finally, over the last couple of weeks, there's been some questions about agendas and minutes being posted on the city's website. We're currently working on a better way to present this information, so it'll be easier to be found, easier to track when they're missing agendas and minutes. It's going to take some work and some patience, but we'll have it looking better and easier to use soon. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions anybody has.
James, we approved the CDBG COVID budget, and part of that was the $300,000 for the small business loans. Are those applications out, do you know?
I believe that Doreen is going to be bringing the actual program itself to you on the 15th for your approval, so we can get the applications out and be ready to go.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else for the city manager? Okay, hearing nothing then, we will proceed to citizen communications. And James, if you could free up the...
Yep, I will unmute everybody right now. The only way people are muted now is if they muted themselves.
Okay, you see anybody with a hand raised or?
I see no hands raised.
All right, then with no attempt, then we will move on to oral reports of the mayor and council.
Mayor, if you mind, the question I didn't think to ask earlier, and it just popped into my head. If I could ask the city manager, being closed on Friday, will that affect the dog? dog unit over at DPS?
Yeah, it will be affected slightly.
Okay. Then we will go to, still no one raising their hand or wanting to be, James, nothing? Okay, then we'll move on to oral reports of the mayor and council. Council President Breeding.
Well, an awful lot of discussion tonight, and I hate to add to it, but anyways, the smart bus tickets that the seniors and the disabled use or whatever, they're no longer, they're out of the smart bus tickets, but Smart wanted everyone to know that everything is a free ride. There are no charges for anyone to ride on the smart buses in the Downriver area until they open up their offices again and provide those passes and things. So everyone take a free ride with a mask on. Okay. Then I have a little statement. It's just kind of, and I don't want to get emotional, but anyways. But while this virus is still all around us, please wear your mask if you are traveling to grocery stores and drugstores. If you are meeting with your family and your friends, please do so using the safety precautions that we all know so well. As far as the demonstrations we have seen on TV, everyone has a right to march for the injustice they feel. Many years ago, I was a union president, and we picketed around City Hall due to the treatment of the workers and the working conditions in the city. We walked, we chanted, we carried signs, but you have to listen to what is being said, who is saying what, and what their concerns are. But you do not have the right to destroy or steal property that doesn't belong to you. That's horrible. We're all better than this. For the past 8 or 9 weeks, I have been locked up in my home, and during that time, I've had panic attacks. Everything affects us mentally, and I can only pray that both the virus and this unruly behavior of some people should not define us. Respect others. Pray for all our residents. Excessive force is not acceptable. Wash your hands often and wear your mask and protect others, and that's all I have.
Good words. Councilman Salcido.
How do I follow that? Wait, Donna, I'm with you. Couple of things. John Kazoo, I want to thank you and the DPS. We had a couple issues on Pingree Street. I know Julia was really instrumental. Also on Riverbank Street, we got that, looks like, taken care of, so thank you very much, Mr. Kazoo. Tom Parkinson, I hope you get well. Hope to see you in Chambers, maybe in July, I hope. Congratulations to Linkin Park High School class of 2020. As a former Linkin Park High School graduate myself, I know you class went through a lot, and good luck to you guys in the future, so I do that. Also, I can't say enough about my colleagues on council. Really, the motion was a goodwill gesture, and everyone, some people are taking hits financially and losing jobs, so I just thought it was in the best interest to have leadership step up in some way. So with that, Your Honor, that's all I have. And Councilman Brady, I hope to see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Councilwoman Ross, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Your Honor. Well, simple recycling is still not picking up. Now with the governor lifting, the order, maybe it'll change soon. But I normally just send them an email message and say I have bags to be picked up, and I get that robo message back that they're still not picking up. So I'll try again next week.
I will have to ask and see if that has changed. Because as of, up until today, they were prohibited from picking up. But we'll check with them tomorrow.
Okay. And then I happened to go on Wayne County's website also and checked on that hazardous waste collection date. They have canceled their 2 dates that they had remaining for this year. So no hazardous waste collections. And what else did I have here? I wanted to thank our city clerk because I got my dog tags through the mail. So I encourage everyone to use the drop box or use the mail for their dog tags. And then, of course, I'm sending get well wishes to Councilman Parkinson. And I, too, want to echo some of the words that Council President said. Now that the stay-at-home order has been lifted, let's still be mindful and be careful as we move forward. And Council President, thank you so much for your heartfelt comments. And that's why I'm so glad that you're our Council President. And that's it, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Councilman Higgins.
Thank you. A hearty happy birthday to Lindsay Hogan, but also a happy birthday to my sister Kathy. Not quite as old as Mr. Hogan, but happy birthday, Kathy.
Not yet.
I'd like to remind everybody that free food giveaway at the high school is still going on Tuesdays. It's supposed to start at 11, but the lines have been so long. Every week it opens up a little bit earlier. The last couple of weeks it has opened up at 9 o'clock and it goes from 9 to 1. I'd like to once again thank the wonderful women in the cafeteria and the food service program for putting this together. They are putting together 2,000 meals. Think about that. 2,000 meals they're giving out every Tuesday. And it doesn't matter if you have a child between 5 and 18, you can come by and get it, and it's absolutely free. Get 7 breakfasts, 7 lunches, and there's a lot of people hurting in Linkin Park. Please come in and take some food. Of course, I want to say to Tom we're glad you're getting better, and we hope to see you soon. And Lillian, the Salvation Army can now start taking donations. It was on the news earlier today. So probably our donations for the other, we'll be able to start. I'm in the same situation. I have a bunch of stuff that I would like to donate. I would like to say something that the mayor said earlier about the Meals on Wheels. I too, throughout my time off from work, I did a lot of the Meals on Wheels. And you don't realize how many people out there that really need that and have to take advantage of that program. And it was very humbling to see how many of our citizens need a helping hand, and I was very proud to be able to take part in that. And it's a really good program. And I also would like to, I can't say it better than our council president said it, but I can say that, our First Amendment right to say what we want to say and freedom of speech is the greatest thing is what our country stands for more than anything. But you hurt that if you take a two-step and you use it to abuse it and start stealing and start doing bad things. Use your voice, not your hands. And also use your social distancing. And that's all tonight, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Kelsey?
Thank you, Your Honor. Hopefully Councilman Parkinson is watching this. He said he would. I don't know if he is or isn't. He's up to it, but he said he would watch it. And I'm sure he appreciates all the comments. I mean, he's anxious to get home as anybody who's been in the hospital. He's in a hurry to get out. I told him just make sure that he doesn't start walking out because I'll put him back in. But the other thing I'd like to say, and a lot of good stuff has come tonight. I think a lot of people came together on the council like we always do. I always appreciate the comments of my mayor and the city manager and the fellow council people on different issues that are brought up, that are reminding us that we work as a body. And it's good to hear the different comments and the different suggestions. I think Councilwoman Reading's comment was right on. Some of us served in the 70s, and if you remember, the 70s weren't exactly, talk about demonstrations, they were a lot in the 70s, okay? But having said that is that, you can demonstrate for anything and you can do anything you want. to a certain extent, and I think the mayor hit it on the head when he talked about the Exchange Club at the Memorial Park for the veterans. A lot of people that are alive, a lot of people that are not alive paid for all the rights that everybody keeps claiming they have. So just remember that. People paid for your right to do what you're doing. And I don't think some of those rights were what's happening, but that's my opinion, okay? The other thing I'd like to say is thank the management team for putting together the projects we have. Lisa for trying to squeeze the nickels. I appreciate that. That's always a good thing. The city manager in Brandon, our labor attorney, for answering my question on the TPOAM contract where they got it in their hands and it's up to them to get it back. I think that's getting things back on the right track, and when we do that, as far as getting things finished up and moving on, I'm a firm believer in that. The mayor and the Exchange Club did a nice job. I think even though we had the restrictions to try to do something for Memorial Day, as a veteran, I appreciate that. As a city, we should appreciate that, because that's a lot of stuff that goes, that they do, the mayor, the Exchange Club, and all the other people, to still pay homage to a lot of people on a day that's still revered in this country. And I think, without going on further, I'd like to again thank my council members and council ladies for giving me the appreciation of being part of this body, and the mayor, to get things done for the city and do what we think is right. And no matter how it is, we always come together somehow and work it out. So thank you very much, and good night. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And this normally would be Mr. Parkinson's slot, Councilman Parkinson. So we'll just wish him quick healing and back to us at our next meeting in June, maybe even our special meeting that we're going to have on the 3rd. We've gone through an awful lot through this COVID-19 pandemic. We've lost 25 of our residents. Hopefully we won't be losing any more through that. But as we're coming out of it, as our council president said, and the council members also echo it, is don't make all of those things as a waste. We've gone through this. It's like getting back into, or getting into the water the first time in the lake. You don't do it where you dive in. You take it a little bit at the time. So what I'm saying is follow the rules, go through, wear your masks, and look out for one another. As the council president said, we do not want to get back to where we have to invoke all of these rules and things and be stuck in the house again. I mean, there's still projects I have to do at home, but I prefer that we can put those on the back shelf and start going out and doing the stuff with family members and with other people that are out there. So please do your best with that, and we'll get through that. Our workers are, I consider them the best anywhere, whether it be the fire department, police department, DPS, the clerical folks. As the police department mentioned earlier with their grant, the good work that was done by finance and supporting this. A lot of this goes behind the scenes to get it done, and we're very fortunate. With our first line workers, the fire department and the police department, as of last week, we were looking at both of them in high regard. And due to an incident in Minnesota, a tragic incident that George Floyd, when the person lost their life, there's doubt being cast upon our officers here. But I think our police department, under the control of Chief Raymond Waters, does an excellent job. They have an outstanding record as it comes to assault or people claiming that there has been abuse that has taken place. And when you did have those complaints of abuse, they come forward and they investigate it. And our Public Safety Commission is adamant about those things too, and that can be brought to the forefront through that. We do have a process for complaints, and if problems do happen, I just want to say that I support, and I think I know all of us on council support our police department. They just went through, as most officers did, a very difficult time period where they were going in, as our fire personnel did, and facing people that have been subject to the virus or may have had that virus and then take that home through the 3 months. And now the officers are faced with the situation of, are they going to are they going to be riding here, and are they going to be able to come back to their family and those things. Those are scary thoughts that we have. But I want to just thank the officers for their work there. And again, if we are going to protest, and what happened in Minneapolis, in my opinion, should be protested. And it should make sure that it doesn't happen other places, but it needs to be done in a peaceable way. Nobody should lose their business as a result of that. No one should lose their life or be injured as a result of us doing this. We have a duty to speak out when we think something is wrong, but we also have a duty to respect the rights of other people that are out there. And with that, I would ask everybody to be safe, and I will entertain wash your hands, wear your mask, and I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support.
All right, clerk, call the roll, please.
Councilperson Salcido,
Yes.
Kelsey,
Yes.
Reading,
Yes.
Higgins,
Yes.
Ross,
Yes.
and Mayor Carnes.
Yes.
God bless you all.
Yeah.
Good night.
Bless everybody. Good night.
Yep.
Good night.